Welcome back to another episode of Coding with Pizza Technologies. Today we are going to be doing HTML headings, paragraphs and styles. Now, where is our notebook? Let's load up our notebook. We have already learned attributes and we have done elements. We have done basic HTML commands, and now we are free to join HTML headings. Okay, now what are HTML headings? HTML headings are titles HTML headings are titles or subtitles that you want to display on a web page. Okay, they are or they exist from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, whereby H1 is the most important heading and H6 is the least H6 is the least important heading. Now, all headings are important. Because search engines use the headings to index the structure and content of web pages. Okay, now users you and I basically often skim a page by its headings. It is very important to show, to use headings actually. To show the document structure. Now, H1 being the most important heading, should be used for the main headings. Followed by the so on. Now, there is such a thing as bigger headings. Okay. Each HTML heading has a default size. However, you can specify the size of any heading with the style attribute using the CSS font size property. For example, the H1 here, let's do style. Equal font size 60 px. Okay, or could do 50 pixels. And then here is the heading. As you can clearly see, there are bigger headings. We just need to include the style attribute as we start the code. Okay. And now we move on to HTML paragraphs. What is a paragraph in HTML? Paragraph always starts on a new line and is usually a block of text. Okay. Now, this that is the P element. defines a paragraph. Okay. Now let's go back here to Dreamweaver, where this is the P element, this one here, and it defines this here as the paragraph. This is our first paragraph. Okay. Let's try to make this paragraph a bit bigger. Okay. Okay. Now, this is my first paragraph. It contains a large number of words. As you can see here, everything that comes here is the paragraph. Anything that is in between this P and this end tag here, anything that does that is a paragraph. Okay. Now, HTML has horizontal rules. Now, it also happens to have an element of its own. Now, the HR tag defines a thematic break in a HTML page and is most often displayed as a horizontal rule. The HR element is used to separate content or define a change in a HTML page. Take this for example. This one here, up to here, happens to be, well, our first header and paragraph. But then I can do this and have second name is blessings. As you can see here, we have defined a change, and we can put that. Now here, this is the HR element, this one here, the HR element that is used to separate content or define a change. Here happens to be the H1, which is the first header, and here happens to be the H2, which is the second header. There is a change of heading here between this one and this one. Okay, and I have used the BR, which we say it is a HTML line break. Okay. Now, let's move on to styles. Okay. HTML styles. The HTML style attribute is used to add styles to an element such as color, font, size, and more. Now, setting the style in a HTML element can be done with the style attribute. Let me show you a style attribute. This here is the style attribute. Okay. Now that style attribute can be very many things. Here we could say style equals color equals color red. Is it? No. Equals color red. Okay. That in itself, and never forget to put the double quote. That in itself is a style. Clearly seen. This is a style. This is a style. It can be done. Setting the style in the HTML can be styled with the style attribute. Okay. Now, in styles, there is also something called background color. Okay. Now, the background color is also in CSS. Actually, is CSS. The CSS background color property defines the background color for a HTML element. Let's see here. Let's go back to Dreamweaver. Here is the body. This whole thing in blue is the body. Now we could do this. Still style it is equals to background color Aqua. As you can see, everything just turned into Aqua. The background color itself, everything turned it into Aqua. Okay. Now, there is also something called a text color. Here is a text color. Let's just have a small note. Text color. The CSS color property defines the text color. Now, the CSS color property defines the text color for HTML element. This is what I mean. Here, this is the CSS color property, and it has defined the text color of this second header. Okay. Now, in styles, there are also fonts. Okay. I believe we know what fonts are. Now, the CSS font family property defines the font to be used for a HTML element. Therefore, you haven't tried this before, but therefore we could remove this title here, very funny title, and say style equal font. Wow. Font family. We could take or as you can clearly see, wait, it didn't change. Let's try Comic Sans. font family should have changed by now. Not sure why it hasn't changed, but we saw it change some time back. Let's give it that. Clearly, as you can see, it has changed to something else. Now, there's also something as text size. Which is there's also text. Now, the text size for the CSS font size property defines the text size for HTML element, and the text alignment states that the CSS text align property defines the horizontal text alignment for HTML element. Okay, now let us try something out in Remover here. Here, we can do style equal font size at 300 or 200% maybe. You see? And then this style in red, we could choose to change that and replace style as you can clearly see, the font size here changed and the alignment here also changed. Okay, now I think we can now do a summary for all we have learned today from headings, right? Headings. What did we learn in headings? There are only 6. Let's do a summary. There are only 6 header types. with being the most and being okay. H1 being the most important and H6 being the least important. Okay. We will also have had to learn that paragraphs this element defines the start of a new paragraph. Okay. And finally, we use the style attribute for styling HTML elements. The background color is used for background color, as I just said, background color. The use of color, it is for text colors. The use of font family is for text fonts. The use of font size it's for font sizes. And the use of text alignment, text align, is for text alignment. Okay. Please feel free to ask in the comments for any questions. I'm always there to answer. And yeah, have a splendid night. Been your host Keith Baraka from Pizza Technologies. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you.